On today's primetime local news, crime in the city. It seems to have gotten worse. We find out what the RCMP have to say. And Lloydminster Concert Series donates $10,000 towards an expansion project at the Vic Juba. And today marks 10 years of Bell Let's Talk Day. We chat with coaches about mental health in sports. Plus, how kindergarten children are thriving with play-based learning and beyond the classroom.
Prime time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
The RCMP are asking the public for any information they may have in regards to 3 crimes that occurred in the border city this week. Jace Mackey has the details.
So far this week, there have been multiple criminal incidents that have taken place in Lloydminster. First, on Monday, a man was found shot outside of the Super Lodge near 44th Street.
The male is injured with injuries consistent with a gunshot wound. We do not believe this is a random incident, and we're certain there's no more further threat to the public.
While the shooting is still under investigation, the RCMP do not have a description of the suspect, and they stress the event was not a random attack.
We do believe the suspect and the victim knew each other.
Later on Monday afternoon, in a separate incident, a man entered the Tim Hortons near 15th Street and 50th Avenue. He jumped the counter and started to bash the register with a hammer. All of this was caught on video posted to Facebook by the manager. 15 minutes later, the same man attempted to rob the Fast Gas on the north end of 50th Ave near 57th Street.
He was wearing a yellow bandana with a red backpack, and he was carrying a hammer. No injuries were reported, and at this time, because it's still under investigation, we're not going to disclose what was actually taken.
And while there is still concern among residents in the border city, the RCMP insists that the community is still safe, even after the major criminal incidents we've seen so far this week.
There is no further threat to the public. If you have information, please contact the detachment, 780-808-8400, or Crime Stoppers.
For Primetime Local News, I'm Jace Mackey.
Well, the Vic Juba Theatre is one step closer to its expansion after receiving a sizable donation from the Lloydminster Concert Series Association. The LCSA donated $10,000 to the multi-purpose expansion project, which is looking for $1.1 million in funds.
So it'll be additional space backstage for dance festivals, dance recitals, theater productions, music festival, school events. It's much needed. We're really wall-to-wall during dance festival season, and that's 3 months of the year.
Seeing the need for funds, the LCSA hopes their donation will also encourage others to contribute.
We recognize that the addition to the theatre will be important for local community groups that are wanting to practice, or for schools coming into the facility that need extra space behind stage to organize. So we thought it would be quite appropriate to contribute some of the money we've raised from the concerts to the local programming.
An anonymous donor will also match donations up to $150,000 towards the expansion project this year. The City of Lloydminster approved the PARS and Green Spaces fees and rental rates, which will go into effect February 1st. This includes slight increases to cemetery rates, baseball and soccer field rentals, and campground rates. Councillor Aaron Buckingham says the increases are in line with changes to facility rentals.
The bottom line is the costs aren't going down in doing these things, and the fee increases we're seeing are pretty much standard to every other fee increase that we're seeing, and those are driven by external factors such as the carbon tax and things like that.
And according to the city, the change will not affect the 2020 Summer Games.
If there is profits, will stay in the city through a legacy fund through the games.
Any potential fund storage for events at the Games are currently being raised through fundraising.
Help ensure that those improvements have been paid for. Some improvements have been paid for through various organizations and grants that they've been able to receive.
The breakdown of the new rates are available on the city website. For the past 12 years, different organizations within the border city have been finding ways to spread kindness throughout the community. Students across the border city have been finding different ways to spread kindness each year and are being rewarded for it. Our Jasmine King has more.
The Beyond Borders Circle of Change is a community coalition with representation from different health, education, and nonprofits. This year is the 12th year they are spreading kindness around the border city, and it's the 3rd year the coalition will be offering grants to schools around the community.
We came up with the idea to have a grant program where we would actually fund every school in Lloydminster in both the public and Catholic school divisions, give them a small amount of money and encourage them, invite them to come up with some ideas that they have to promote kindness throughout the city. And so every school applies, and then we get the joy of reading through all these grants.
When the students come up with the ideas, they carry them out into the community and also go to different schools.
We go with a kindness van and we deliver hot chocolate and cookies to everyone and anyone all over the community on Pink Day. We have a school that's actually making blankets to give to the men's shelter. Another school's making a meal for the men's shelter. So it's just a huge variety of awesome, kind things that are happening throughout the month.
A lot of students across the 2 divisions get involved in the Kindness Wins campaign and help other students become involved.
Those students are able to get a different message when it's peer-to-peer, when it's another youth talking to them rather than their teacher talking to them and telling them about how there's hope and there can be change. And we see the smiles and we see the things that they join together on and the belief that they could have, that we can have that all-inclusive community.
The Kindness Win Days comes every February, and seeing more students willing to be a part of the day means a lot to the schools.
It's always great fun to be able to see what the schools do and to see the enthusiasm of the students as they go out and they get this direction and these ideas of how they can promote kindness, and then the warm fuzzies that they get themselves when they're rewarded by, the reactions of the people that they're doing these things for. Awesome.
Jasmine King, Primetime Local News.
Well, the grade 7 class in College Park School has started a podcast called Grade 7's Talk to Experts, where the students interview a local expert on each episode. And from what our reporter Shelby Clark tells us, it's already starting to become quite popular.
Grade 7 teacher Cornelius Cron came up with this idea from attending a conference where somebody was describing how to do a podcast. He realized it would be a great exercise for his students, and local experts were an interesting topic for the listeners. Since September, they have had 10 guests in and plan to have 15 more by the end of the year.
So far, the ones that are available for people to listen to include a parkour expert, a podcast expert, and an art expert, as well as an outdoor sports expert.
With their matching t-shirts, Cron says it's been a great learning experience for the students since they get to schedule and conduct the interviews. This week's podcast will be on an expert in coaching football, while also having an expert in animal rescue come in today to record an interview.
So they come up with the expert that they know or that they know of. They contact the expert themselves via email or in person on the telephone, so some real life skills being developed there.
The students would come up with the questions as a class, while the host chooses some of the questions they'd like to include, and then open mic time at the end. With using the equipment they already have available at the school, the interviews happen inside the classroom while the students sit around to listen.
It's like training your brain to have a conversation with someone you've kind of met, not really, like you haven't seen them in a long time, and then you have a conversation with them.
Other than conducting the interviews, the students also learn to edit them on the software at school. Cron helped them get an idea of how podcasts work before they started inviting experts to interview.
Well, before we started doing this podcast, Mr. Cron, my teacher, he suggested listening to some podcasts that you're interested in, and we kind of just spent a period listening to some podcasts that we found online.
There are 4 podcasts available online at the moment, and they add one every Friday. Grade 7's Talk to Experts can be heard on Apple Podcast, Chrome Podcast, Radio Public Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Shelby Clark, Primetime Local News.
Well, kids are naturally driven towards playing. It's something they thrive in. So by introducing play-based learning to children in kindergarten, it will help them thrive in their math and literacy skills. Abby St. John has more in this week's Beyond the Boards.
Kindergarten students at Queen Elizabeth School have been using play-based learning throughout their day to discover new things they can learn more about.
Play-based learning is part of our regular day, so the kids get full hour to just go and explore and play. When they're doing that, they get time to kind of explore different interests that they're wondering about, different worlds that they're curious about, and it just gives them the freedom to explore those topics without me getting in the way of that.
The play-based learning has also been introduced through numeracy and literacy as well.
There's a big push this year for numeracy skill from the divisions, so we include that in our morning calendar routine, really throughout our day. So I do literacy-based centers as well as play-based centers. So literacy centers ties in those numeracy skills and the literacy skills that we do, and each week we kind of rotate through them as a group and just pull from different topics that we're working on.
By having the students play for an hour, it helps them with everyday life skills. As well, it helps teachers come up with different teaching methods.
It allows them to dive into the social aspect of it, so they're interacting with their peers, they're interacting with objects in the room, and just figuring out their social world through that. I found a big impact on it just for me as a teacher too. Through that, we do an inquiry-based learning, so I get to go and just watch how they play and see the different things that they're passionate about, and then base my teaching off of that too.
Play-based learning sets the stage for when the kids move on to the higher grades.
So it kind of creates the base for them as students. So from here we start working right on their numbers 1 to 10, recognition, counting, and that just sets them up for the years to come, and they can keep building on those basic skills.
For this week's Beyond the Classroom, I'm Abby St. John.
Beyond the Classroom is brought to you by Lakeland College. Apply today to environmental sciences. Study soils, plants, ecosystems, wildlife, and more.
And now a look at your evening weather forecast with Jasmine King.
Thanks, Judy. Looking at the current temperature here in the border city, we are still sitting at around -9, so not much has changed since the last hour. And with that wind chill, we still are at -17 degrees, so still colder out there. And looking right now around the region, Cold Lake, Pierceland, and Marwayne and St. Paul are all at -7 degrees. Bonnyville is at -5, and Provost, Vermilion, and Wainwright are all still around that -4 range right now. And then as we look to the Saskatchewan side, they still are a little bit colder than we are here. At Meadow Lake and North Battleford are both sitting at -13 degrees, and St. Walburg and Green Lake are at -9 degrees. And as we look again at the satellite radar, we are seeing that we did see some precipitation earlier on in the day coming from Edmonton and coming from the west. And Vegreville did get a little bit of that, and it is moving more eastern as the day goes on. So there is a chance we may see that earlier on or overnight. And as we look at the school day forecast, tomorrow for school, it is not too cold. We are still in the negatives and at -3 degrees. And then at recess, we are at -3 as well. Lunch in schools, and when school's over, we are at -2 degrees with that mix of sun and cloud throughout the day. And now as we look at your 3-day forecast, tomorrow is sitting around -1 degrees. So again, not too cold, but as we look at the wind chill, we are at -14. Friday will be breaking even at 0 degrees, and that wind chill will be at -10. Now Saturday is when we will be seeing our first positive that we've seen in a while at 4 degrees, but with that wind chill we are at the coldest with -17. So again, even though we're at positives, we're going to be seeing colder wind chill through that day. And then throughout the next few days, we are seeing that mix of sun and cloud throughout. So there is more sun peeking out this week, but that is the 3-day forecast, and we'll have more news coming up after the break.
Welcome back. 3 prairie companies have partnered to present a one-stop shop to buy, finance, and ship agricultural equipment. All it takes is a few clicks of a computer mouse. Winnipeg-based agdealer.com has teamed up with Winnipeg's CWB National Leasing and a new Alberta company called Trusted Dispatch to launch the tool on agdealer.com's website. Each listing on the site includes buttons that will calculate an estimated monthly or seasonal payment and apply for financial online. The Winnipeg operation, which was acquired by Canadian Western Bank in 2010, is already the largest equipment leasing company in the country. And now here are your agriculture prices for today.
We're a part of less than 5% of Canadian auto body shops and Lloydminster's only locations with certified collision care recognition at City Centre Auto Body.
Sports takes a physical toll on the body, but they can be very mentally draining as well. Bell Let's Talk Day helps start a conversation with the coach of the Bobcats and how his coaching staff helps take care of their athletes' mentality. Many hockey players live away from home. Sometimes they're even in a different country. Head coach Nigel Dubé and his staff have plenty of ways that they check in with their athletes' mentality.
A big part with the coaching staff is that we meet with our players every week and have one-on-one meetings, and sometimes it's just a matter of asking them how they're doing, and just figuring out more about their life than the hockey side of it.
Dubé also mentioned that when he played hockey, mental health didn't have as much focus as hockey did.
It's come a long way over the years from something that was probably never talked about or never brought up to being focused. I think it's also important that we focus on it every day and not just one.
For Bell Let's Talk Day, Dubé says he's going to do what he always does with his team, focus on being healthy and happy. And now a look at your weather forecast with Jasmine King.
Thanks, Judy. Looking at the current temperature here in the border city, we are still sitting at -9 degrees, and overnight we will be going to -7, so we will be getting a little bit warmer, but that's going to carry on till tomorrow, where we are going to be at -1 degree. And looking at North Battleford, they are still colder at -13, but overnight again they will be warming up a bit, up to -10 degrees, and they will be jumping up a bit as tomorrow they will be at -1. And then Cold Lake, currently they are sitting at -7 right now, and that will be the same as they will be seeing overnight. And tomorrow they will be breaking even at 0. And now looking at more places tomorrow around the region, Vermilion, Marwayne, St. Paul, and Wainwright are all at -2 degrees. Provost and Macklin and Maidstone, are sitting at -1 degrees. And as we look at the Saskatchewan side, St. Walburg is going to be at -1, but again, there's going to be a lot of just close to that 0 degrees for a lot of the region tomorrow, including Meadow Lake and Pierceland are going to be at 0 degrees. And now as we look overnight at different places across the region, Meadow Lake will be getting colder down to that -10 degrees, and Meadow Lake and both Isle La Crosse will be seeing some snow as they move overnight. And Pierceland will be sitting at -6, Bonnyville -5, Provo at -4, and Unity will be getting colder at -10 degrees. And now looking at your national forecast, this side of the country is definitely warmer than the eastern side, as Edmonton is at 1 degree and Vancouver is at 9 degrees, so they dropped down a bit from the last hour, but Quebec City and Halifax are both at -12 degrees, so they are colder than we have been seeing, which is a usual change from them being warmer than we are here. Toronto at -6, and St. John is still getting some of that snow at -2 degrees, but Iqaluit is still sitting pretty cold at -22 degrees, so we aren't there yet, and I'm sure not a lot of people are complaining about that. Yellowknife is going to be seeing some snow at -9 degrees, and Whitehorse will be breaking even at 0 degrees. And as we look at the 7-day forecast, again, this week we will be warmer than what we've been seeing over the past few weeks, with Thursday at -1 degree, Friday sitting at 0. Saturday we'll be getting into those positives at 4 degrees, But Sunday and Monday, we're going to be seeing a drop from what we will be seeing on Saturday, as Sunday will be at -7 degrees and Monday will get even colder at -16. So that is the coldest part of the week, and the definite change from the next day, as Tuesday is only going to be at -4, and Wednesday is going to be sitting at 0. And now for the averages around this week and this time of the year, and we're closer to -9 degrees with that low being at -18. So we are a bit warmer than that when we're seeing right now, but we are going to be colder going into Sunday and Monday. But that is your 7-day forecast, and we'll have more news coming up after the break.
Well, today marks the 10th annual Bell Let's Talk Day. Conversations surrounding the mental illness aimed to fighting the stigma as well. The question is, do you think that Bell Let's Talk Day has made a difference? And I feel like it has. It has opened up doors for people to communicate, to talk, to reach out to other people. It's not an easy place to be when you're feeling, you know, that feeling, and it feels like you're in darkness, really. So it's really important that people are shedding light on that and talking about it.
I feel like, yeah, you kind of mentioned this, but a lot of people aren't as ashamed anymore to talk about like mental health and things that have been affecting us compared to maybe like 20 years ago when that's almost unheard of. No one's really talking as freely as we do now. So I think that this day has definitely helped change like the stigma around it for sure.
Yeah, and especially for young people, you know, there's a lot of things that have happened in terms of suicide, adult and young people, and I think when people can get that help before that happens and they're able to communicate and talk it out, that's so important. You know, a lot of people complain about whether or not Bell is making the money in terms of it's 5 cents and it goes to a good cause, obviously. But if you're not part of Bell, you have to pay 15 cents per call or per whatever. And so they make 5 cents goes to donations and 10 cents goes to them. And they're like, they're making money. But I thought, of course they're making money. They should make money. Who cares? The fact that they've put this platform up or this open dialogue for people to communicate about this, so important.
I think a lot of people also don't realize how expensive getting like certified help is.
Yeah.
So this definitely helps with making it more affordable for those who really need the help.
Definitely, definitely. And on that note, we do have some pets that were sent over. Thanks for your pet picks for a chance to win a gift card from the Pet Pad.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
In studio with John Winter, the president of the Lloydminster Construction Association. John, thank you for spending the time. I know it's not the most fun time of the year for construction companies necessarily, given what's been the last couple of weeks of weather, but not a lot has changed from 2020 to 2019. We were just talking off camera before.
Yeah, so I mean there's a few different things that a few people are optimistic about in the industry. Coming up in the end of February, we have our Future Projects Luncheon, or career opportunity forum that we put on annually as a construction association to show our members what's kind of coming down the pipeline. So looking forward to that. And yeah, there's still some optimistic people out there for what's to come.
What are some of the most significant things that will be discussed at that luncheon?
So we have different owners like Lakeland College, Lloyd Public School Division, City of Lloydminster, Alberta Infrastructure and Trades. So we have lots of different speakers and people coming to talk about what's going to be coming down the pipeline for those specific owners. So yeah, we're looking forward to see what they have. So it's usually a pretty well attended event, and we're looking forward to another good one.
I see. What do you guys do to keep yourselves especially busy in these last couple of months? Because obviously the projects slow down when the wintertime comes and you can't get into the ground or set certain projects up the way you would normally do if you had better weather. What's kind of the thing that keeps you most busy? Is it just planning for the summer or planning for the next couple of years?
Yeah, so we have, I mean, different, the industry is pretty broad in general, but different trades are affected differently. I'm in concrete construction, so I mean, we're a little bit slower definitely in the winter. You can't pour on frozen ground and stuff like that. But so, I mean, people like paving and stuff, they're doing maintenance on equipment, looking forward to bidding new projects and stuff like that. And other people like plumbing and mechanical and stuff, they're still doing some jobs, or because they're finishing up some other jobs that maybe we started during the summer that they're finishing up now. So depends on the trade, but yeah, everybody kind of has their way of keeping busy during the slow time.
You've talked a little bit about, you know, how in the past how tough the economy has been, obviously, not just your industry, but multiple industries throughout the region. What's one of the things that's been most important for you to adapt to this amount of time? Obviously, there's going to be various points where you can't adapt and you just adjust financially or not.
Yeah.
But what's one of the biggest things you've had to evolve in terms of being able to kind of continue to make business moving forward and continue to, you know, come with the ebbs and flows that comes with the industry?
Yeah. So I mean, personally, our company, we've been around for quite a while. We have a fairly good name in town and the region, I think. So, but diversification has been a big part of us. So whether it be commercial, residential, industrial, just finding any type of work in the concrete construction that we can do. And I think I see a lot of people, different trades are doing that, diversifying to offer as many services to their clients as they can. So, and I mean, Lloyd is a great town for community support and stuff. So there's still a lot of great support, but everybody's keeping a little eye on their purse strings and keeping everything a little bit tighter now to get through these slower times. But hopefully some people say this is the new reality, but I think some people, they're hoping for things to pick up a little bit more here for sure.
And some of that hope, does that come from looking at the next couple of months of decisions that could come down either from the provincial government or the federal government?
Yeah, I mean, you never really want to rely on government to keep your business afloat. But yeah, I mean, there's some infrastructure money there that some long-term care facilities and some infrastructure throughout the region and province that we have the opportunity to bid on. So, and as a construction association, that's kind of our main priority, is to keep our members, give them some good jobs that they can bid on to keep them going.
We talked earlier in the cast about this utility corridor that members across the country are trying to build, and Lloydminster's providing support for that movement as well. Having that kind of support to kind of have more of an ear to the federal government, does that make it easier for companies in oil and gas, in construction, to then have more opportunity to create jobs and to get on various projects? Do you kind of look at that very closely or no?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different variables. Even with the Alberta Construction Association, we've been working with the Alberta government, red tape reduction, and their ears been open to listening to our suggestions. And so all different aspects from government and different levels, from oil and gas to construction to, there's so many different things. So you got to kind of keep your ear to the ground, but a lot of moving parts to keep track of, and so hopefully it keeps going the right way. But I think we've seen the worst of it. It's just going to be a slow climb coming out of it. So.
For sure. And really quickly, so the luncheon is at the end of February?
Yes, I believe February 26th at the Stockade at the Prairie Room.
Okay, I think most people will recognize the room. Really quickly though, any other dates that are significant to the construction community to plug in the next couple months?
We will have our Tri-Trade. We have about 2,000 students from the region coming through to get their hands kind of dirty on what different trades are out there. So that's been a really successful event for us as well. So that's coming up, I believe, in May.
Okay, so a big springtime event to kick things off when hopefully all the snow will be gone by then.
Hopefully.
Yeah, thanks very much for coming in, John.
Thanks.
Hey, it's Justin Marshall from Hot 101.3 and Boom 95.3 radio stations around the Lakeland. And here's what's going on in the area. Cold Lake this Saturday. If you're a bride or you're having a wedding this year, it's going to be the show for you. It's Lakeland's Bridal Showcase 11th year. Miranda Gertson joins me now, and she is the owner of the I Do shop here in Cold Lake. Miranda, what can you tell us?
We're really excited. This year we have a whole bunch of things happening that are different. When the brides come in, they get an awesome grab bag. They get complimentary sparkling grape juice. There's all kinds of goodies like appetizers, cookies, macaroons, cupcakes, kind of for them to sample, and over 30 different vendors from the Lakeland area there to help them plan their wedding or anniversary or even a vow renewal.
Starts at 10 a.m. $15 to get in. More details at hot1013fm.com. First 50 get the grab bags, right?
Yeah, so we only have 50 grab bags, and they're pretty awesome. They are, they're kind of like this, and as the vendors have been bringing stuff in, we've been putting in. But there's some cool stuff, like one of the vendors put in $50 off a set of lash.
Oh, wow.
There's some homemade bath bombs. There's some goodies, organizers, discounts, coupons, you name it. Everything's in there for the first 50 brides.
Well, that makes people want to come early then.
Yeah, that's the idea. And there's also entertainment happening on the stage all day. So as you're there, you can kind of kick around and see what's happening. And then the big draw for the big prizes happens at 2:30.
Awesome, Miranda. It sounds like a lot of fun. Can't wait to check it out this Saturday.
Thanks.
And if you have an event you would like to feature on what's happening, shoot me an email, jmarshall@stingray.com.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
In studio with Dr. Neki Jamal. Always a treat to have you in studio,
Thanks
man.
for having me.
And you have another adventure coming up right away here.
Yeah, we're so blessed to have our awesome community of Lloyd to help support us to go on another dental and optometry mission trip this year. And this year we're heading down to India, and we cannot wait. It'll be amazing. It'll be our first time going to India to provide dental and eye care, and I can't wait.
Is it the first time you individually have gone to India as well?
No, I'm not from India, but my dad and I went there on vacation for a week a couple years ago. And what actually prompted this trip was we were walking down the street in New Delhi, and it was almost like it was a dental street. And there was dentists lined up on the street, and people were sitting on the curb. And they were getting their teeth extracted, they were getting dentures made just right out in the open. It was quite an alarming sight, and it was crazy. So I felt like it was my mission to go there and help people.
All right, and how many other people are going with you?
We're going with our main group of 15 or 16 of us, and they've all done multiple missions with us together. I'm really proud that one of my main assistants, Jelaine, she's coming on her 4th trip, and one of our hygienists, Paige, is coming with us as well.
Nice. So how many mission trips have you done with taking dental work as well?
I've wanted to try to keep count. I want to say I'm on number 19, and every year it just brings me back, and I always get excited for the winter because I know I'm going to be going on 1 or 2 trips, and it's just so exciting. It just revitalizes you and reminds you what's important in life.
Absolutely, because as you were alluding to with the need they obviously have there,
Yeah.
it just shows you the contrast in where we live in the world compared to other parts of the world.
Oh, it's so true, and it's so humbling to be able to serve. And I'm so blessed to have been able to go to school and been able to learn a skill that I can provide people with throughout the world. And like I said, it's one of the most humbling things one can do as a dentist or any health professional. And I really feel like it's my duty to help where I can.
Absolutely. How many children do you think you'll end up serving over the course of the time?
We generally see at least between 500 and 700 people. And usually though, like if there's a lineup, we do everything we can to get through that line. We've been working in pitch black in areas where there's been no electricity, and you're literally you have your headlamp and you're working in the dark. And so we try to help as many people as we can. Whoever is in pain or wants their teeth checked, we're always here for them.
Now, what is the official date when you leave, and when will you be back?
We're leaving on Valentine's Day, my birthday, and we'll be back near the end of February.
Okay. And is there any other way people can help contribute to the trip? I mean, everything I say is paid for and stuff.
Yeah, we do a lot of fundraising throughout the year. If anyone wants to, usually we take on, we accept classes. But we've had so much support over the last couple of years. We have so many classes.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, the thing that means most to us is just coming to us and just saying, hey, we support you. And that to me means the most, because we have such a huge family in Lloydminster, and everyone wants to help. They just need their own opportunity how. And I'm so blessed to be able to be that opportunity for people.
Absolutely. And now before we let you go, we got to ask about Valentine's Day. We always do this when there's a date that involves a lot of eating things that may not be the best thing
Yeah,
for your teeth.
fair
And
enough.
obviously Valentine's Day chocolate, that's going to come up for a
Yeah.
lot of people. Is there anything you would say out of the ordinary in terms of maybe one or two of these typical Valentine's treats you should take it easy on, or just the usual of just make sure you keep the window in which you eat that sugar short?
Well, first of all, I hope you're still not eating your Halloween candy.
Well, that's
so
a good point.
That's the most important part.
That's a
Get
good
rid of
point.
that.
Yeah.
If you are going to go Valentine's Day candy, let's be honest, sugar is sugar. If you're sticking, if you're eating a lot of the toffees, just be careful of the caps and crowns on your kids' teeth and your own teeth, because that can pull them off. And the more sugar you eat, the more cavities you'll get. And unfortunately, that means you got to see me a little bit more. So
that's not the
take it
worst.
down. I know, but
that's not the
come
worst
on.
thing that could happen.
I'd rather give you a high five than a filling. How's that?
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you again for joining us, sir.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Have a great trip to India.
Will do. Thanks, man.
Now, taking a quick look at your 7-day forecast. Again, Saturday is where we are going to be seeing the warmest day of the week at 4 degrees. And Sunday and Monday is where we're going to be getting back to those colder degrees. And so Monday will be at -16. So like we mentioned in the last hour, we haven't seen a lot of these cold temperatures compared to that bad freezing snap we had.
Oh, I like the idea of 4 degrees. I'm enjoying that. That's going to be nice.
It was nice when it was melting everything.
Yeah, and that is it for the show. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again tomorrow.